Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for your daily D&T. We're currently 1 and 2. We just got Ren in 6th. See if we can recover from that. We'll be keeping a medium to medium minus power level hand here. We don't have a Mom, Vial, or Swords to Plowshares to start off with, but assuming we draw a land in 2 draws, we have acceptable 2-drop into 3-drop that is appropriate for whatever matchup we are facing. If I didn't have the Prelate as a potential lock piece, I might have considered throwing this one back and trying to find something that was just a little objectively stronger. So with current information, my next turn is probably Sanctum Prelate on 1. Although this is something very much that can change. Like, Flooded Strand Ponder Island is too ambiguous of an opener to get like a real read for what my opponent is on. And this is even still a little bit rough. Because if this is like a sneak and show deck, then I really want to Sanctum Prelate on 3. I'm going to cast this Prelate, and then I'll tank if it actually resolves. Okay, so our opponent is on some sort of Delver deck. We will not pay for that. Sneak and show with days? That's old school. Alright, is there any way that I can wiggle out of this immediately? I can Recruiter for Mom and play it this turn. I can Recruiter for Revoker and play it next turn. I can try to set up like Flicker Wisp for Flicker Wisp sorts of situations. This is not good. I'm going to continue attacking. My opponent's life total is relevant due to like Ancient Tomb plus Grizzlebrand activations. Putting them to 13 means Grizzlebrand can't draw 14 cards anymore. Alright, what do you got for me? Emrakul. Well, that takes all my permanents. Do you also have the Grizzlebrand? You also have the Grizzlebrand, so I'm dead. Rough. Alright, Needle's good. Chalice is good. Path is better than Swords to Plowshares in all likelihood. Relic Order and Council's Judgment are not exciting, but fine. We'll probably end up cutting my Mother of Runes because we're bringing in Chalice. We'll probably end up trimming my Stoneforge Mystic package quite a bit. Like, the Jitte's bad, the Batterskull is not great, the Sword of Fire and Ice has some degree of utility. So it becomes a question of, like, how much of the Stoneforge package do you really want to keep? And I'll need to make 2 more cuts from here. It'll probably just be swapping 2 Swords of Plowshares for 2 Path to Exiles. You want to respect the blue card that loots and acts as a pseudo show and tell that makes a token. Arcane Artisan, you want to respect that, but the Sword of Plowshares pointed at Grizzlebrand is pretty bad. The Path pointed at Grizzlebrand is medium as well. But you kind of need to keep in some degree of removal. It's possible that playing the Batterskull when I'm on the play is correct. And that I should just like go down 1 more Swords to Plowshares for the Batterskull. I think this is fine. I would like to play first. This is a hard one. This is a really hard hand. Because if I draw a land, and I get to Chalice, this hand becomes very strong. Like, I can shut off, like, Grizzlebrand and Sneak Attack in some order. I could also, like, just try to, like, spike the fetch land that they're going to be playing. They showed me 2 Flooded Strands last game. I think I'm going to keep the sketchy hand. Opponent has mulliganed. So they might be playing like Scalding Tarn and Flooded Strand, if I were to guess. I'm going to start by ramming this out there. Oh snap, it gets the Force of Will. Super happy about that. Nice. This is a tough pick as far as naming goes. I don't think I want to put it on Elemental. I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it on Horror so I can resolve these Revokers. And start with a Chalice. The reason being, if my opponent casts Show and Tell, I'll put in a Revoker since they forced my Pithing Needle. Whereas under normal circumstances, if a blind Show and Tell, you often put in Flicker Wisp to flicker out an Omniscience. These days is looking pretty good for my opponent, but it is setting them back mana, and that's kind of a big deal right now. The first one is going to name Grizzlebrand, because I very much care about a Show and Tell Grizzlebrand drawing a bunch of cards. I don't think we're in danger of, like, Show and Tell Sneak Attack dead this turn. It would have involved, like, either a Soul Land or multiple Lotus Petals. Sure, Sorcerer Spyglass is not something I care about at this time. We'll see if my opponent actually bothers to name Stoneforge Mystic, or if they'll just jump a step ahead and go ahead and name Caracas. And that's a play that I really like. So we shut off Sneak Attack. We've shut off Grizzlebrand. See what our opponent can do. We'll be casting a Flicker Wisp. And let's flicker our Cavern. We've used up our Revokers here, so we just want this on some other creature type. I guess human. Well, actually, Elemental is pretty good, too. It's going to open up, like, my Flicker Wisp lines. So that I can Flicker Wisp my Flicker Wisp to flicker out, like, one of their lands or the Spyglass or something. We are setting ourselves up for like the world's nastiest Kozilek return. By the way, just throwing that out there. Let's get a land out. Don't K-return me. Don't Pyroclasm me. Yep. Yep. I regret nothing. I was aware of that going in. So we have lethal on board if my opponent can't go off this turn. It's unclear how much disruption we were doing with our Revokers. That is not good enough. We have lethal through that. Opponent giving us the chance to misclick and kill their Spirit Guide. I respect that. Alright, so we know our opponent has Pyroclasms now. Is that going to change anything about how I want to play this match? It makes Mother of Runes slightly better. But again, there's some awkwardness, right? Because I really want to jam this Chalice. My opponent's build has Spirit Guide, which means I can go faster than normal. And that the Grizzlebrand draw 7s are a little bit better. They also have Daze. They're looking to go fast. I really don't want to have this many 1-drops in the deck if I'm going to be doing Chalices. But my opponent might have fewer pieces of interaction than normal, so these hate pieces that I get down might be more impactful. Let's go ahead and junk my Crusaders. And trim a Swords to Plowshares. And then play it like this. Reluctant keep. See if this Pithing Needle gets Force of Willed again, so I don't have to think about what to do with it. Okay, so that draw makes it very easy. We will be naming Grizzlebrand with this, because Pithing Needle plus Swords to Plowshares is a combination that actually goes and beats a Grizzlebrand. Well, these dazes from my opponent are a little annoying. My opponent, 2 games in a row, has kept these really sort of like interactive hands that can't actually combo off. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm really good at drawing Tomic today. I'm going to put a threat into play and then start porting them. It's possible I should port this turn so that they can't, like, ponder. Am I getting cheeky? Am I getting cheeky by Rashad and porting that Scalding turn right now? I don't think I am. Tempted as I am. Great opportunity for a brainstorm? Nope. My opponent has got to be close to going off, right? So do I just Wasteland in response to the Scalding turn and try to lock them? If they're not like super close to going off and their hand is actually just full of like clunky crap right now, this is a huge upside play. This play gets exponentially better if my opponent does not draw a fetch land in these 3 cards. We're looking to top deck something decent here. Kind of hoping my opponent gets stuck with a bunch of like Simian Spirit Guides and Pyroclasms that aren't really doing anything right now. Let's see if we're successful. This is a long pause that's not fetch go. Oh, never mind. All right. That's a hard decision. Let's start by casting it and see what happens. It resolves. So, am I supposed to go in this turn? Probably not. It's just probably incorrect to take that degree of risk. I'd much rather equip next turn. If we win this one, it's not for us doing good things. It's for our opponent just absolutely fizzling and pooping themselves. That's not good. That's going to be a sneak attack. We're not going to put anything in. Oh, nope, it is an Omniscience. Worse. Alright, we'll go ahead and scoop to that. GG's. So, The keep was a little sketchy, but like given the number of topics we had for that to be decent, and given how aggressively my opponent had forced the pithing needles in previous games, I think I'm fine with that. But like their force of will into days plus us drawing like conditional pieces of removal into redundant Tomic meant that we couldn't really race. Just for the sake of humor, yeah, we wouldn't have ended up any better if we drew an extra card there. All right, good games. I'll see y'all tomorrow.